Look at this first, then we'll turn it on.
You seen that, John?
Yeah, that's to get the snow blowers and
No,
all the stuff.
the trash. Well, the trash.
Dumpsters.
Oh, the dumpsters too.
Yeah. Goes in there, elevator, down.
That's a big boy ERV. Typical cube design. So these cubes come out, and you have to take them out. The other side's the actual cube area, but these slide out that way, and they just dovetailed. So you have to go blow on. There's filters on this side we can take a look at too. I think they're accessible from the other end. So we're going this way and this way through the cubes. Filters on the side. I think it's ambidextrous either way. There's end switches on the dampers on each side of the unit. So those end switches have to make for the thing to run.
Yeah.
So like if you turn it on and it doesn't work for some reason, like that's the first thing in the control string. Everything's pretty accurate. I'm supposed to suck the paper off because there's so much velocity, but this is the control string here, and we followed it to a T. So it's the end switches are into that. We took like the jumpers out here so that you start actually using the end switches. Speed and stuff is controllable through this. This balanced for constant pressure, so I wouldn't adjust anything as far as speed goes. The other thing too is I believe on this controller, like we have it set for 60%, and the motors are at basically their full load amperage. So I don't want to know what the other 40% will do. So don't adjust it unless you really have to. But I just wouldn't touch it. I was on the phone with a Dixel, a Corel, and I was on the phone with Renew Air. I was like, "Is there a different parameter setting that we could get so you can't go that high?" And they said, "No." I'm like, "No." So just if you put them into 100%, just don't do it.
Yeah.
Just really don't. I mean, it might be fine, but I don't know. It also does the frequency. There's the VFDs on these too. So these motors only rated for 60 hertz. They're 60 hertz plus 10, plus or minus 10%, and we're at 60% on the drive. So the drives can go to 100, like 110. That's what the parameter I was trying to get down. To be like, yo, you shouldn't have the ability to do this. And like, well, that's how they come. I'm like, what are you talking about? But I'm not sure. They kind of hit a dead road with it. But if you don't change it, you don't have to worry about it. But, these alarms and stuff, there's really not much that can really go wrong on this. Basically, plug filter alarm. Like if the end switch doesn't open, it does send an alarm, but it just says start failure. So it's kind of generic. It doesn't really tell you what the hell's going on. But I did have that happen because it was hitting the duct a little bit. Blow out the cubes or whatever your normal maintenance schedule is. You can pull these things out that way. You can pull it out this way too, bend in the screws. But it's better if you pull it out that way because I think that's where it comes from. You fire this up, you guys can hear the noise. There's displays for the drives in this cabinet as well. The actual displays are in here, so it'll show you like what hertz it's doing and all that. But the brain behind where it's telling you to get that hertz from is from that little Corel controller. So you have to open this up while it's running, which is, it's not too bad, but it's a lot of air to like change a set point. This will display what it's doing, but what it's actually thinking is on that controller. It's in there. And then, so these smoke detectors too, these don't go to the fire alarm system. So you can touch these all you want. You're not gonna set the fire alarm off. It was in the fire alarm permit to provide duct smokes, but to not have them ring out anywhere. They spell Corel? C-A-R-E-L. But these are in the control string with everything else. So if the contact goes bad, or if somebody smokes in their apartment or something, because this ERV does the entire building. That other one just does the community room. This does everybody's everything else. So I don't know how sensitive these are for smoke or whatever, but if these trip, it'll just show you a red. That's how you know that it's tripped. And it'll just shut it off. It won't set the fire alarm off. It won't do anything. It'll just shut it off. It's just in the control string with a regular command. The other time clock that was next to the other ERV time clock in the mechanical room is for this one. Again, they want this to run 24 hours. So I just have the time clock, when we get the noise thing figured out, just set to on. There should be no schedule into it. The only thing I did notice when we were messing around during balancing and stuff is that if you open these doors too fast, the fan can't slow down fast enough, and the inrush current can trip the breaker. So keep that in mind. They also have, I believe, fuse disconnects, which I am not a fan of because it's 3-phase. So be sensitive to that, because if you break one leg, the inverter should shut it off, but you don't know, electricity moves pretty fast. It might be too late. It might single phase the motor. But it was in the electrician spec to provide fuse disconnects, so that's what was provided. But it has a 30 amp breaker anyway, so I don't know why they did that, but it's here. So just keep that in mind. This also has an LEV kit, which is this huge monstrosity in this room that you're probably gonna get your head on for the next 20 years. This guy right here. This is the LEV kit. This and the other ERV have one single condenser on the roof that they operate with. The LEV controller is behind you. This operates in the same principle too, that we close that rib relay, and then it will just, the Mitsubishi will maintain the 70 degrees independent. It basically turn on, maintain 70, doesn't care how much air is going across it, it will maintain itself. It'll ramp up and down. So it's kind of like two standalone systems. This has got dual valves on it, everything's pretty accessible. Drain pan, auxiliary drain pan, and regular drain. So that's pretty much this. There's another exhaust fan right here. This is the one we added for the storage room 008, which is this room. So this is the room that you can legally keep snow blowers without that, I think.
Yep.
I don't want to speak for CHA.
That's right.